Hey, yeah, I think it's like, yeah, 1:18, this late. I don't want to be out here by myself. So, I got my buddy with me. Say hello. He's kind of shy right now, just like the princess. Anyways, let's try to do something since when I tried to lay my head down, it was not, there was no success to it. Therefore, I'm coming out here to keep working because, believe it or not, searching for a job is a job of its own. What I'm gonna do right now is geared more towards what I saw in the video of someone who is, well, we can say successful. And she said, what's the one bit of advice you would give to somebody? And what she said is mindset. This lady didn't go to college, but she owns multiple business, and it's the YouTube channel. He does shorts. I think it's Daniel Mack. So he'll run up to people and randomly say, "What do you do for a living?" Which people shouldn't be ashamed to say what they do for a living. That's not intrusive. As a matter of fact, people should say what they do for a living, and they should say how much they make. Okay? Corporations, they have it instilled in our psyche not to share our compensations because they are afraid that then during the water break, the peers within the staff are going to compare their wages, and then that's going to cause a dispute, and people are going to go to HR and say, hey, how come this, how come this, how come that? And that's why they don't want you to do it. Okay? It's not because it's taboo. It's not taboo. You can share with people what you make. It's no big deal. It's just money anyways. But to corporations, it's not money. To corporations, to them, I don't want to say greed, because different companies have different philosophies. But at the end of the day, when it grows to a certain size, see, the problem with money is you can never have enough of it. Once you reach to a certain point, you want to have more. It's like addiction, okay? And then once you have that much money, you want to have more. And you want to keep growing and growing and growing. And that's why you got these tech billionaires investing billions of dollars into the next idea. And it's a risk, it's a gamble. Who knows if it's gonna win or not. But let me go ahead and start what I'm gonna do. Now, everything that I do, I'm gonna share. If anybody beats me to it, so be it. I wish you success. You know, I'm not one to, how do I say it? I'm not one to like hide things from others in order to get a one up on others. I've even trained, okay? So, and I never even put that in any of my resumes. I should do a real resume. I might go to the workforce and tell them everything that I've done, because I've trained people to do work that, the job that I do. I learned on the job. I did things like I've done medical billing. Okay, so I had to learn. Back then it was ICD 9. Now it's ICD 10. I had to learn diagnosis codes, which there's a different name that they have for that. There's a lot of things. There's so many things you can learn, especially when you specialize in something. The possibilities are endless. Okay, so I'm not just like a run-of-the-mill unemployed person who doesn't know what they're talking about. I got a lot to learn. Well, you always have a lot to learn, but I'm still credible enough. I have enough confidence that I would make a great manager. one of my references, he actually was a good friend of mine. Well, we knew each other. We talked. I don't know. Yeah, we were friends. I could say we were friends, but we weren't friends that we hung out. But we were friends. We used to always talk. You know, and anytime I ever stopped, asked him a question, he was the coolest person in the world. No matter what. He would come, stop, talk to me. He would tell me things that, he didn't even have to disclose, but, we had that type of trust within each other. His brother still works for one of the corporations that I want to work for, and he's one of the higher ups. And the higher ups up there are a joke. I'm sorry, guys. But looking out the window to see what kind of cars the managers in your store drive and calling that fishing, come on, guys. That way you know if you have them hooked or not. I mean, I could see it as banter, but these are people's lives, It's humanity is, one person as an individual, for the most part, they're well behaved. But when you get people with power in a group, the dynamics change, okay? But hey, maybe because of that they won't hire me, or because of other things. But I know I would be a great asset to that company. Nonetheless, I decided to go with the mindset this time. I'm gonna create first of all, let me explain it to you guys. Exactly what it is that I plan on doing before I do it. In case any of you want to do it, like I said, everything I don't mind sharing, and also I want the best for everybody. So if it's the next big thing, unless it's the next big thing, let's just say, and it will help me towards gaining a livelihood, then I may keep it to myself, because I need to establish livelihood, okay? Just like Chappelle said, you can't take away what a man does to put bread on the table. I'm not per diem, but he said something to that extent when he was a young man, and he caught people hustling other people out of money, and he was just a quirky little young man. This was back before he had stock, and even then there was several group of them. I don't think he'd be, foolish enough to take on that many people, but nonetheless, when the man literally picked him up and looked at him in the eyes and saw the fear in his eyes, that's when he told him, he said, look, son, you don't get in the way of a man and his livelihood. And from that day forward, that's when he learned that lesson, which is very valuable. You should watch Chappelle. You can learn a lot from that. Alright, so when you go to Craigslist.org, where I live, I have to go to miami.craigslist.org. And then there's different tabs. There's a tab for community, one for services, one for discussion forums, one for housing, one for sale, and one for jobs. So let's see if I can find it inside here. Jobs. General labor. Would it fall into general labor? Let's see what other ones they have. Medical health. It could also fall into that. Okay, so customer service, quite possibly. Okay, so I found three categories in which I might be able to advertise. So now, next thing we're gonna do is, thanks to the good old people at Alphabet who offer free apps once you set up your account with them, let's go to their Docs app so that I can create a document. And the document is pretty much going to be the body of what I plan on posting. I don't want to post it this time. I'll probably post it when I wake up. Gotta get up at 6 because even though I told the princess that if she is responsible to do something for herself or that is pertaining to her, she needs to be the one to be, in other words, she needs to hold herself accountable for that responsibility. But for the waking up, I'm going to continue doing that because just because mom doesn't set an alarm. I'm always there first. Well, usually mom gets up because she goes and she takes her medicine in the bathroom, and or just uses the bathroom, I don't know, but she spends some time in there, which is kind of well, what she does, she's a hearty eater. It's just not like, it's just she always takes it to her room. But anyways, I'm gonna stop the video because I want to concentrate on this. And like that lady said, mindset. I'm gonna try to look up it was a short. I'm gonna try to look it up to link it to this. I'm also gonna link other things in the descriptions, so please check out the description. I'm putting down in the descriptions ways that you can help. A buddy of mine told me that if I'm looking for jobs and I'm also on this platform asking for help, it doesn't look good. But what am I supposed to do? It could take months, it could take years until I land a job. So during the meantime, I have to do whatever I can possible to try to be able to provide. That's why I'm doing this, which is out of the norm. This is not an application. This is something that I'm putting out there. I want to provide a service. That's why I ask you guys for donations, because, like I said, right as of right now, I don't have a way to maintain a livelihood. So I'm sorry I have to do it. I know there's a lot of scams on the internet. There's nothing I can do about that. But I can tell you, I'm not going to say anything, because whatever I say, you're just going to make your own opinion of it. I wish I could have someone else attest for me. That's why I want to ask the princess to at the very least do like a narration. I'll just put something and she can just talk to kind of introduce herself, especially since part of my Patreon, the most active part of it has to do with her food, her dinner, which if I don't prepare it for her, Papa Alex does, and on some occasions, Mom does. So I would like for her to, and I know that the family channels do good because they exploit their children, but I don't believe in that. I would actually consider that CA. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I don't want to get any strikes, but it's not right. It's almost like when it's like child actors in a way. I know I mentioned this before, but when Macaulay Culkin did his interview on one of the podcasts, he would tell stories that he would travel the road with his dad, and so that his dad would show dominance, he would make Macaulay sleep on the couch while his dad slept on the bed. It's terrible, you know. And I don't want to subject my daughter to anything that, would not. She's a child. She needs to enjoy being a child. That's what, you know, being a child is. And childhood is short. Till you're 18, it should be till you're 25. Childhood is extremely short in this country. And the reason they did that, I'll tell you right now, in my opinion, and I kind of believe it's the truth, it's just so that they could enlist people in the army while they're at a prime age, right after being in school, which school is is preparing you to be obedient. It's preparing you to, follow orders. It's preparing you, just like how we say the Pledge of Allegiance. It's preparing you to be patriotic. So it's a perfect time right after you graduate out of high school. You turn 18. Perfect time for them to recruit. That's the reason why I believe that being 18 is when you're an adult. And that's not just something of here in the States. That's something in a lot of other countries too. And the reason being is because once they adopted, I think it was the Prussian Empire when they defeated Poland. Like I said, Google it, because I learned these things from YouTube videos. You never know what's right or wrong. I don't really go into the descriptions a lot to read the sources, but from my understanding, Prussia invaded Poland, but what they realized was that the Polish people were not willing to adopt the Prussian way of life. So what did the Prussians do? They knew that the older citizens were already set in their ways. They're Polish, bottom line. But they knew that children are impressionable. So what did they do? They started a schooling system where they were only allowed to speak the language that they wanted them to learn, the ideology of being a Prussian, and everything else. And then that model was adopted by a lot of other countries. So our education system is like a double-edged sword. Yes, you do learn some things, but you don't really learn about life. Okay? That's why I tell my daughter to listen while she's at school, and at times I should tell her more often, just listen all the time. I've also told her a foolish person will learn from their own mistakes, but a wise person learns from the mistakes of others. Therefore, listen to your friends, listen to the choices that they make, and make sure you listen to the consequences that they may have to face. That way, you might be able to avoid a conflict that you would probably had to have faced yourself if you hadn't learned it from somebody else. I try to talk to her a lot about a lot of things because communication is key, and it's a lot easier to talk to her because she's kind, she listens, and and she's impressionable, and I don't try to use that for anything negative. She's my daughter, for heaven's sakes. Love her to death. Probably the reason why I even want to exist right now. In spite of the fact that I have so much going on in life, like a lot. People think, like, just today, for instance, when I was making the Patreon video, if you saw it, if you get the chance to see it, there's a part where I have to share a kitchen with Mom. And what you did not see, because I turned off the camera, Mom literally made a whole mess in the kitchen. And who was tasked with cleaning it all up? And I've been awake so long that everything that I put in the dishwasher to wash, because I tend to do it most of the time, If I fall asleep early, Dad will do it. The cycle was done. So I put everything away, you know. So it's not like I'm just sitting around doing nothing. Even though my life right now, I can say I do, I feel fulfillment in my life as is, but it's not enough to maintain livelihood. Just because I feel fulfilled does not mean that I can maintain, you know, what is it called? Livelihood. Yeah, maintain a livelihood, you know, so I can provide one day, hopefully, roof for my family or care for my parents. Even if my family has to live with them, I don't care because they're my parents. If I have to take care of them, that's it. If they don't like that, they can move out. But that's what I'm here for. That's what children are for, to care for their families. I mean, I know this country has adopted assisted living facilities, but I don't believe in those. Anyways, this just went black to conserve energy, which means I've been ranting. Thanks for watching. Peace and love to all. Peace and love to all. Ciao.